program. So I've just been pursuing it since I was a kid. We grew up in a family where we constantly talked about things like our feelings and have very open discussions. So I think I've always been naturally a vulnerable person, but I think there's strength in vulnerability and being able to be a brave person by exposing your true feelings. That's not always an easy thing, but it's your truth, so why hide it? I definitely gravitate towards strong, intelligent female characters. They're the most inspiring and encouraging examples for young women today. And I remember growing up when I was younger, how much impact those definitely like to make sure that I'm doing my duty as an actress to portray really strong examples of women. Women shouldn't have to sweat confrontation. For the longest time, we've lived in a society where women feel like they aren't allowed to speak up about what they need or what they want or what they believe. We start sentences with, I feel like maybe, or I kind of think, you know, we shy away from being 100% clear about what we want. We should be able to use our voices without any remorse. Women should support each other because we have the power to uplift each other and to learn from each other, because every woman is so complex and different in her own way. There's so much to be learned from each other. And by supporting each other, you're kind of acknowledging this individuality in each woman. Like, I'm gonna support you in your decisions and in your path, and we don't need to compare our paths or feel this unnecessary competitiveness with each other. We are two separate people who can live happy, successful lives in our own different ways. I wasn't just of the messaging behind isn't something women necessarily talk about or feel like, you know, they should talk about, or is it something embarrassing? And I think to be able to whip that into something that is empowering and strong, why wouldn't you want to be a part of that?
I hate shit sometimes too, you know what I mean? Like, all I do the photos you take. So it's a very vulnerable thing because you're putting yourself in the photographer's hands. They ultimately get to decide what photo gets chosen. So it makes you feel, touch it up, it's fine. And I'm like, no, I don't want you to touch it up. Let's just get a nice photo that's real and honest. But I don't want you altering my body. That's not my body. And I personally, I don't have any photos, photo editing apps. I think I only have like ones to put a border or something. But like, if I don't like a photo, I'm just not gonna post it. I'd rather just not post a photo that I don't like of myself than, you know, add some like tweaks here and there to my body that aren't real, and people are gonna notice isn't my body anyway, you know? I'm here in flesh, you can see the way I look, why would I try to hide that, you know? These characters, they're both pulling a little bit from each other, so like, we're exploring what's softer about Veronica and what's edgier about Betty.
Right.
You know?
They have both.
And right when they were putting me on hold was when I finished. And then by January, I was like testing, going back and forth from New York to LA. And we had like 2 studio tests. The first one was before the pilot got greenlit. And at that point, it was just me and father go to prison for something, for getting involved in all these financial crimes. And so she's like embarrassed and ready to take her life into her own hands. And what better way to do that than to go to Riverdale with I mean, she's still sassy and a little snobby sometimes and like poised for sure.
Carries herself.
But she's constantly trying to go out of her way to do nice things for other people. There's one episode where she talks about her bullying past, and she used to like bully people and like almost drove a girl to suicide, you know, like things like that. So she has a dark past, and she feels like she used to be a really bad person, and she's kind of redeeming herself. And that's why I think she takes an interest in Betty, because she sees someone and really wants her to stay at home and start working towards starting a family. And they're, you know, obviously trying to sponsor the show, and I think she's balancing that good place right now, and the musical kind of brings them together by the end.
Jughead and Betty.
See, but we all look side.
take out her organs.
Oh my God, wait, there's
So,
gonna be more chat.
those dynamics. And obviously the mystery of like what we saw at the end of season 3. And I think we're gonna be
Epic.
coming back to that throughout, like having little flashes of it throughout
Yeah.
the season to kind of gather more information. So each flashback,
Unreal.
I guess, will tell us a little more.
Sure. How much do you?
Probable show last night was amazing. It was really fun. I loved this new collection.
Watch magazine.
Yeah.
And once we find a pose, it's like
It's like, we got it.
gold.
He's so great.
Heather's blends into Riverdale through the character that Veronica's playing, which is Heather McNamara. They both are going through very emotional times and dealing with the people around them and all the chaos around them, and all the pressure that they're feeling at that individual moment. So, you know, Veronica sings Lifeboat as Heather McNamara in our musical episode this season. And I think she's really relating to the kind of feeling of your world is crumbling around me from TV. My body also has an inside. And in order to keep those reproductive organs fully functioning, plus all the other things in women's bodies that can be confusing.
And in order to keep those reproductive organs fully functioning,
Think of pap smears, like. And I'm guessing that fantasy doesn't end with a condom mishap and a trip to the drugstore for Plan B. Did you know that cervical cancer is underdiagnosed in women of color? Because we'll be upset, which means we can't do all the things we do that give you erections. Or bidding on antique costume brooches on eBay. Think about us, sexily begging you to keep us healthy. The biggest excitement in Veronica's storyline is her